Hi, this channel has been sort of temporarily suspended due to good weather, but today when nature is watering my plants, I will take the opportunity to try to paint this fellow, a little skeleton guy, and I will try to paint like this magic card. Like I talked about in the old world reveal thing video, and while at it, I will try to talk about the thing, my problem with concept art or inspirational art. I suppose it's just easier to just paint, and I'll talk while I do it, and you'll see. Let's go. The whole idea originated when I recorded the post Old World reveal video. I'm not really fond of the Tomb Kings in general, but suddenly there was this thought that it would be a fun challenge to try to paint it in a different style. One that I do like, and see if they would make a difference. This miniature is obviously not the one from the reveal, but one that I stumbled on sold separately, secondhand. Perfect. I'm actually not even certain that it's a Tomb King miniature, or if it's Games Workshop, but it doesn't really matter. You could say that the whole idea is still miniature agnostic. I want to try to paint an Egyptian themed miniature that I'm not too fond of, but inspired by an Egyptian themed image that I do like. And see if that makes me like the miniature better. As the overall look of the image is very yellow, I zenithalled him using a bright yellow rather than a white. He also needed an emergency spine surgery after my son used him as a game piece in our own little super scaled down mini skirmish. I don't really blame him. The entire upper half, the one that catches all of the accidental gestures, it's only attached with a tiny bit of plastic. I suppose they opted to make that reveal Tomb King with a hollow stomach rather than hinge on a spine for a reason. Anyway, as you might notice, I'm not here to give a painting tutorial. I'm not good enough for that. I simply paint how I feel like, and any dead professional artist would probably turn in their tomb if they would see some of these steps. Therefore, I speed things up and just show the result. The thing I do want to talk about is the yellow color I used. You see, I took a look at the image and thought, I'll do a yellow primer, as the figure is yellow. Wrong. When I brought the image up for a closer inspection, it turns out that the mummy in the picture is actually more red, or perhaps even pink. It is the background that is yellow. Let's just have a look at the figure without the background. And then the background without the figure. You can clearly tell that the figure is pink and it's a background that is yellow. And this is sort of the piece that I'm missing in a lot of instructional videos about how to select the color theme. The general process is something like: step 1, get inspired by art. Step 2, step 3, use colors. It is pretty straightforward if you want to paint a space marine and you look at the picture of a space marine. Try to match the colors and distribution as on the picture, and then use this experience to fill in the blanks on the back. I often tend to get more inspired by more abstract images, scenes with only a small or dim figure. And of course Mordheim, where all the artwork is black and white. Perhaps it's no wonder I'm always kind of reluctant to move on after the value sketch. They always look so damn good. But at the same time, unfortunately, they never really look as good as fully painted figures. But I want to paint inspired by colors. But many times when I do, they don't come out the way I imagine. I don't have many examples laying around, as I usually paint them over until I'm happy. But at that stage I usually have left the plan, and this no longer looks like the inspirational art or the vague thing that my brain was hoping for. I'm also sorry to say that I have no clickbait friendly solution ready. I'm actually more interested to hear if anyone else out there has a good suggestion as to how to do this in an efficient way. This time I tried to simply screw the colors of the figure and went for the colors that I instinctively saw looking at the image. Yellow. Very warm colors. Instead of blue, I threw in a bit of red in the shadows. And even though I had to make the skeleton a bit more white than I initially intended, I mean, otherwise it would just be a brown mess, I never went all the way to pure white. And as it's impossible to catch that black smoke that is so, central in the picture, I also went with a pretty much pure oxide black in the deepest recesses, to at least bring the color in somewhere. Overall, I suppose I'm pretty happy about how it turned out. Or she. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm not a forensic investigator. And even if I was, with a closer inspection, I'm pretty certain that this is not a correct anatomy. And that's not the point. I mean, it looks like a skeleton, as it should do. And that's just fine. The good thing is that I suppose we now have two ways to check if I succeeded. First, let's put this miniature back in the image and see if it seems to belong. Kind of. I think I overdid the red tones a bit, making a bit too orange, and I should probably try to get a bit of that greenish tone of the pyramids in somewhere. But overall, yeah, kind of successful. Perhaps I'm just overthinking everything. And the other thing is, do I like the miniature better now? Do I like it better than the revealed Tomb King? Yeah, I do. Could I imagine myself having an army looking like this? Yeah, kind of. It would not be a priority to get one, but if I was to do a Tomb King's army, I sure would paint it in this way. So as a conclusion, I suppose that I should just let inspirational art be inspirational. As long as I'm happy with the result, I suppose the process doesn't really matter. Unless, of course, you have a better way yourself to do this sort of thing, then I would love to hear. But, yeah, and speaking of that, thank you for all people who have commented on my last video, and yeah, I think that's it. I mean, pretty much, thank you for watching, and until next time, don't forget to enjoy your hobby.